Hi, good morning. This morning I want to talk about the power of wanting to get better. So, a lot of times we say we want to get better, we want to get better, but what we don't realize is that in order to get better, we have to have the willingness to change. But change sometimes doesn't come easy. Not a lot of us are very receptive to change. Change is super hard. If we are set in our ways to do something in a specific way, it's so much more easy, or sometimes we're just comfortable staying the same way. But then we sit there and we're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to be this, but don't really put in the effort to change, right? And change, once you make that decision to change, I find that you have to be, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes honesty, and it takes, one of the hardest things is awareness. If you're not aware of your own opportunities, or if you're not willingness to listen with the intent to understand another person's point of view, you're never going to change. You're never going to change because number one, you'll have a defeatist mentality that you can't do it. Number two, you'll come up with a conspiracy theory or just plain out excuses, right? So yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna expose another aspect of my life. For years, I struggled with my finances, and I was in denial when it came to my finances. Everything that we have, the house, the car, the money, none of that is because of me. All of it is actually because of my husband. He's one of there's no one else that I know in my life that is really good with money the way that he is. But for years, I hid the fact that I was struggling with money. I hid the fact that I was sinking in debt because I was in denial. I hid from it. So since this entire experience of me wanting to change and to become a better person, I exposed myself. I learned how to have a humble conversation, to talk about, what were some of my opportunities, what were some of my struggles. So I put it all out there. I talked about, me taking out a loan on my 401k. I talked about my credit card debt. I talked about, where all my money was going, because I make pretty good money, but I didn't know where any of the money went. So what he did is he went through, when I get paid, so my pay period, he went over that I didn't want him to pay it off. That's not what I was looking for. I was actually looking for real, true help. And one of the things that I learned in one of my favorite books, is, it says in here, if you don't let a teacher know at what level you are by asking a question or revealing your ignorance, you will not learn or grow. You cannot pretend for long, for you will eventually be found out. Admission of ignorance is often the first step in education. So to me, that tells me that if sometimes we tend to pretend, and because pretending puts us in denial, and we make ourselves think that we are in control or we know something when we really don't. And because we don't know, we tend to pretend, and we put ourselves in a place where we feel duress, where the burden of the load weighs us down. And that's kind of what my finances did to me. It was wearing me down. And I had no idea how to gain control. So when I finally exposed myself, you know, he showed me how to gain control. So number one, he created a plan, right? He said, what dates do I get paid? So I get paid on the 1st and the 15th. Okay, what do I spend? And before, in my head, I mean, it was something really simple. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, if I do my nails, I don't add that to the budget. If I do my eyebrows, you know, all these little things. And he's like, no, if you do those things and you spend money on it, you need to put it on the list. You need to put it on the list that you spend this amount of money on the 1st to the 15th. I now live a healthier life. So, I mean, I do drink Shakeology, so I had to add all of that to my budget. I do drink Performance for my exercises, so I added that to my budget. I do run 3 Beachbody business organizations, and there's a business fee to it every single month, so I add that to the budget. Anything additional for my events, for my business that I do, I have to add that to the budget. And I wasn't adding those things to my budget. I was just spending, and I had no idea where any of my money was going. But to actually sit down and plan before the money came and know exactly how much money you got and writing it down and planning for it, it was like a light bulb went off in my head, and I actually sat down and saw what I was spending. I mean, every single weekend I was buying breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And in my head before, I thought the money would magically appear where I'll have the money to pay it off, but it kept on adding and adding and adding and adding and adding. So the moral of this story is, if you want to get better, you have to be willing to change, right? You have to be willing to change. You have to be aware, and you have to expose yourself. Say it out loud if you have to say it. And when you do that, oh my gosh, it's like a burden is off your shoulder. For years, I've been married for 12 years, and my husband and I keep our money separate. You know, he pays whatever he has to pay. I pay whatever I have to pay. And it just worked out for us that way, because if he wanted to do something for his family, by all means, go ahead and do it. You don't have to show any of that money. Or if I wanted to do something for, you know, my family, or if I wanted to spend something, by all means, go ahead and do it. But I was sinking in debt. And anyone that knows me knows that I'm super afraid of being broke, but that's the reason why, because of the compulsive spending. So I wanted to talk about being, you know, that's the key. You have to, if you want to get better, you have to be, number one, willing to change. You have to expose yourself. So expose yourself to a teacher. Find someone or something that is an expert in that category, and expose yourself and be willing to change. Now, once you're willing to change, you have to be disciplined. Once you find the right routines, if you find the right routines, you have to be disciplined around that. So now what I do, I actually have to, I create, I'm going to show you. I actually create a meal plan from the 1st to the 15th for every single week. It's written down. So when I go to the grocery store, I don't just buy stuff. And when I go to the cashier, I know exactly how much money I'm spending. And I break down every single thing that I spend from that time period. And I put the dates down so that I can put it in. And I'm so disorganized when I'm like on the run, because I'm constantly on the run. I'll do anything that I spend on cash. I separate the cash by envelopes, color coordinated, and I write it down. So if I'm in my money for my eyebrows, we have turtles and we have birds. I put that in there. My gas money, my laundry money, and anything miscellaneous, extra money. So that's my story there. If you want to get better, you have to have the willingness to change. You have to prioritize. You have to create a plan that makes sense. You have to plan, and you have to be disciplined around that plan, and be honest. But honesty comes with awareness. So thanks. Have a great day.